Jewel Institute of Advanced Driving. Drive with confidence.
Good evening, welcome to Mwangaza Prime. My name is WAITHERA and my sign language interpreter is Naomi Mathu. Let us first take a look at the stories making headlines tonight. Our top stories tonight.
Carried out 3,895 tests. Out of those tests, 421 have tested positive.
570 patients cleared after recovering from coronavirus.
Barabara ni mbaya, inatengenezwa siku mbili, ya tatu inabomoka, vijana hapewi kazi. Kienda kwa Dr. Mureli anakuambia goja kesho. Sasa tumekuja hapa kutafuta kazi, tunataka watupe kazi. Watu wasitolewa Mombasa wakuje wajenge barabara kama ile ilikuwa ya kwa Mwea. Tunasikia mpaka saa hii vijana hawajapata kazi, wanashida hapo kwa barabara.
Locals of Nanyuki lament over uncompleted roads.
Tumeweka sehemu za kunawa mikono nje ya kanisa, na wakati ambapo Wakristo wataingia kanisani, sehemu ambazo zimewekwa alama kwa Wakristo wanaweza kukaa.
And many churches ready to reopen on 19th of July. $570 more patients have been cleared after recovering from coronavirus, as confirmed by Ministry of Health CS Mutahi Kagwe on a tour in Nakuru County, where he praised healthcare workers for their dedication. However, 421 new cases have been detected from 3,895 samples since Wednesday, and 8 fatalities recorded since raising the death toll to 217.
We carried out 3,895 tests. Out of those tests, 421 have tested positive. Therefore, we now have 11,673 positive cases in the country. And I have often said, these are the cases that we know of. These are the cases that have been recognized because samples have been taken from them. Assume that the next person standing next to you is positive. Hebu muangalie vizuri, is positive. Hebu muangalie vizuri. Unamuona? Unamuona Ijapokuwa haonyeshi yeye kwamba ni positive, wewe assume that person is positive. And I am not saying that Dr. Rashid Aman is positive, but I am assuming. Therefore, that's why we are keeping the social distance. And he is also assuming that I am also the same. Because kwa hivyo, let's be careful, good people. Because we now have carried out 230,096 tests in the country. From the cases, 409 are Kenyans, while 12 are foreigners. As has been the trend, 297, almost 300 of those are men or male, while 124 are female.
The transport sector, it's a relief as government adjusts passenger capacity for PSV and relaxed COVID-19 protocols for public transport sector in new guidelines. CS for Transport James Macharia stated that 14-seater capacity will now carry 10 passengers as opposed to earlier guidelines of 8 per trip.
In the new guidelines by Transport CS James Macharia, a 14-seater capacity will now carry 10 passengers as opposed to 8, including the driver and the crew. The new guidelines will also see 33-seaters allowed a seating capacity of 18, including the driver and the crew, while 51-seater will be allowed a seating capacity of 30 passengers, including the driver and the crew. In case of border borders, only one passenger shall be allowed. Tuk-tuks shall only be allowed to carry one passenger at any time, but CS said the Health Ministry should consider reviewing the directive to allow tuk-tuks carry at least 2 passengers. Macharia said that 5-seater car will now be allowed a maximum of 3 passengers and 7-seater a maximum of 5 passengers. In March this year, the government issued directive compelling the matatu sector to drastically reduce the number of passengers to avoid the potential spread of coronavirus through congestion. To adhere to the social distancing directive, the 14-seater matatu were directed to carry 8 passengers, those with a 25-seater capacity to reduce to 15 passengers, while those above 30-seater capacity were directed to maintain a capacity of 60% per trip. The matatu were told to ensure passengers wash their hand and sanitize before boarding any vehicle. They were also told to ensure that PSVs are fumigated after every trip. Since the directive were put in place, many commuters have had to dig in their pockets to meet high prices. With regards to long-distance travelers, bus companies will now have to keep passengers manifest for a minimum period of 1 month before destroying them. Macharia said as a result, the government will identify and gazette designated stopovers along the transport corridors, and they will introduce and promote use of cashless payment in the PSV industry to mitigate transmission of coronavirus between drivers, crew and the passengers. Reporting from Mwangaza, Prime News at 9, I am Wanji Kombogo.
Residents of Nanyuki are lamenting over incomplete construction of main roads linking Nanyuki town in Laikipia East and Doldol Township in Laikipia North. The locals have now shifted blame to Kenya National Highways Authority (KENHA) over what they term as laxity to complete the road section since the tender was awarded on June 3, 2020 for its upgrade.
Residents are lamenting over incomplete construction of a main road linking Nanyuki town in Laikipia East and Doldol Township in Laikipia North. The locals have now shifted blame to Kenya National Highway Authorities (KENHA) over what they term as laxity to complete the road section since a tender was awarded on June 3, 2020 for its upgrade.
Barabara ni mbaya, inatengenezwa siku 2 ya 3 inabomoka, vijana hapewi kazi. Kienda kwa Mwangaza anakuambia goja kesho. Sasa tumekuja hapa kutafuta kazi na tunataka watupe kazi. Watu wasitolewa Mombasa wakuje wajenge barabara kama ile kwa ya uko Mwea. Tunasikia mpaka saa hii vijana hawajapata kazi, wanashida hapo kwa barabara.
According to John Kanda, a PSV motorist applying the road has over the years been under construction but has remained substandard for usage. Kanda says they have been incurring huge costs to repair their vehicles due to the deep potholes that have filled the road.
Wakati litengenezwa ni kama haikutengenezwa vizuri. Mwanzo hii barabara hata ikukaa kwa muda. Tulienda like 2 months to 3 months mashimo ikaanzia. Na since hiyo wakati hata waleo bado hii barabara haijatengenezwa, imekuwa mbaya, imekuwa ikituharibia magari. Mwanzo kila wakati ni kubadilisha coil spring, mara imekatika mahali. Mwanzo hii mashimo imekuwa kubwa. Especially wakati wa mvua huwezi ona shimo mahali iko.
According to a post erected by KENHA, Madsen Enterprises Limited was awarded the tender for routine maintenance and spot improvement of Doldol Turnoff. Aaron Gatia, Nanyuki resident, says the local youths have over the years been left out during refurbishment of the road, rendering them jobless. Gatia says they have seen KENHA officials marking the road, but construction works have not kicked off.
Mimi naona tu watu wakitengeneza huko, lakini ni mtu tu anakuja kujitolea. Ule anakuja tu anaomba kama 20, anaweka mamawe, atisi ile kusaidia. Ndio kuoneshana hii barabara ni mbaya. Kibalu ya kujitakia. Sasa ukiwa na huruma unakuja na gari unamwambia shika. unapata kakitu.
Festus Muriithi, a boda operator, argues that they have been entangled to take their farm produce to the market in the industrious Nanyuki town due to the dilapidated road. Patrick Loruk says potholes along the roads have over the years been rehabilitated, but the condition continues to worsen. The locals appealed for speedy rehabilitation of the road.
Hija pande tunalimaga. Pande tunalima. Sasa unaona hata machakula haipiti mzuri. Unaona? Hiyo ndio hapo sasa ndio tuna complain. At least hii barabara itengenezwe. At least hata mtu akibeba kitu anabeba ikio bila maneno mingi ni
Mary Kinyanduwi reporting for Mwangaza Prime News.
Many churches have confirmed their readiness to reopen on Sunday of 19th July. According to Father Charles Njoroge, Father in charge of St. Francis of Assisi RUIRU, set points for hand washing outside and inside the church premises will play a vital role in curbing spread of COVID-19.
After the President's go-ahead on the opening of churches that took place on the 6th of July, many churches are ready to reopen on Sunday the 19th, and according to Father Francis Njoroge, in charge of St. Francis of Assisi RUIRU, says that they have set points of hand washing outside and inside the church premises.
Tumeweka sehemu za kunawa mikono nje ya kanisa, na wakati ambapo Wakristo wataingia kanisani, sehemu ambazo zimewekwa alama bila Wakristo wanaweza kukaa kanisani, wakiweka umbali wa mita 1.5.
He also said that they have marked benches with appropriate social distancing of 1.5 meters apart, where they will only allow 100 worshippers, out of which 14 will be choir members.
Wakati wa kuimba wanakwaya, tutakuwa na wanakwaya 12. Wanakwaya 3 kwa kila sauti, 12. Vile kutakuwa na moja ambaye ni kiongozi wa kwaya na mwingine ambaye atakuwa ni mcheza kinanda.
He said that due to large congregation of worshippers, they will be celebrating 6 masses which will start on Saturday in the evening.
Pia kanisa letu tumeonelea ni vizuri tupeane misa 6. Misa vile kuna moja itakuwa ni ya Jumamosi kuanzia saa 11 jioni, na hizo misa na 1 jioni, na hizo misa zingine Jumapili itakuwa na misa ya saa 12:30, misa ya saa 2, saa 3:30, saa 5 na saa 6:30.
This was echoed by Reverend Stanley Ngure of Deliverance Church Theta in Juja, who said the elderly people and those with underlying issues to adhere and cooperate with all protocols put in place.
Ile kitu iko ni kwamba kwa ajili ya watu ambao tumekubalishwa, kwa ajili hatuwezi kuwa na watu more than 100. Kama mimi binafsi nimekutana na viongozi na niendelea kukutana na watu kwa ajili ya kuambia how we need to cooperate with all those protocols. Tumebadilisha pia timing ya ibada kwa ajili tumekuwa tukikuwa na ibada 2, lakini sasa tutakuwa na ibada 3 tunapoanza kwa ajili ya mabadiliko ambayo imekuwa.
He also encouraged them to be following online programs which will be offered. Reporting for Mwangaza Prime News, Margaret Kamau.
Residents of Clay City in Kasarani are crying foul following what they term as illegal quarry mining in a residential area. They say that the machines by the private contractor are causing adverse effects like cracking in their houses that might cause a disaster, now calling on all relevant authorities to come to their aid.
Hassan Marebe, mimi ni mkaaji wa hapa City Chicken. Of late tumekuwa na amani, but kuna watu walikuja hapa kutoa mawe kwa quarry, and then they are using what they call a jackhammer. Hii inaleta vibration mpaka kwa nyumba, and of late tumeanza kuona nyumba zinaanza kupata cracks. Kuna vumbi pia inatoka kwa barabara, vumbi mingi sana, and then at times mifereji ya maji inakatwa, The other time is they were using the nearby bushes as their toilets, and we were concerned about our health as well. Hakuna barua tumeona kutoka kwao, hata kama wakisema wana barua sijui kutoka kwa General Badi, wanasema wako na barua ya NEMA, barua ya NCA, hatujaona barua yoyote.
We own a plot here as a group. We had joined together as a staff, and we bought a plot. And sometimes back I was called. I was told there's somebody who wants that piece of land. They are excavating hardcore. And I remember I called my people, we came. Tukakubaliana, tukamwambia asiguze kwanza until we agree with him. And if there is anything that is going to be done, we shall have to write an affidavit or an agreement through a lawyer. Nikapata imechiburiwa. Then I said, nifikiria huyu mzee alikuwa amesema hii weli yake isiguzwe. Imekuwaje sasa imechiburiwa mpaka huyu mtu amefika kwa shamba yetu. So I called him, nikamwambia Wahome, I'm around. Na ningetaka tuonane kwa sababu naona ume-encroach. Andikuwa nimekuambia kabisa usiguze huku. When he came, nikamwambia look at the beacon where it is na mahali umefika. Hata sasa umeanza kuweka hata mchanga kwa plot yetu. Nikamwambia as far as I'm concerned, wakati huu hakuna kitu kama agreement between you and us. And we are not even going to have any agreement with you.
Previous neighbors of done excavations for doing their houses, like the recent ones which have been done the other side here. They did an environmental impact assessment, which we signed for them as the neighbors before the excavation started. And after the excavations were done, we again signed for them an environmental impact assessment, which was being done. So the due process was really followed. But with the one who is doing excavations now, there is a big problem because at no such a time has he ever brought anything. Something which is really saddening is that the excavations have gone so deep. Actually, it's gone like more than 10 meters under. This is a residential area. In one of the places, we have actually had water, underground water, coming out.
That story will see us to a short break, but don't go too far. We'll be back with more news. Welcome back, and now off to Baringo County, where a family of a boy whose leg was amputated after being shot by police in security operation cried for justice. This happened when the government affirmed that there are plans to restore peace in volatile parts of Baringo County through a security operation which was aimed at flashing out bandits and recovery of illegal arms.
Vile sasa mtoto amekuwa sasa kiwete na unaona huko risafu hakuna sasa usaidizi huko. Mtoto ipelekwe shule, mtoto isaidiwe ipate sponsor, apate kusoma. Hiyo ndio kitu la kwanza, mtoto asome. Apate sponsor. Kama serikali inaweza kutusaidia, ape mtoto sponsor asome, hiyo ndio mzuri sana. Ndio tunataka hiyo mzuri. Sababu hatuna nguvu yote na unajua huko hata akiona mtoto amelemewa hivyo hata kwa na haja sababu ameona kama huyu amekuwa kiwete hivi hakuna usaidizi na kwa amerepika. Kwa hivyo maana yake ni sasa kwenda shule. Yangu ni kwenda huyu mtoto aende shule. Kama kuna mali inapata ka plastic kama nini kitu ya kusaidia kusupport hiyo mkuu. Apate kutembea kwa hiyo mkuu asaidiwe.
There are people also who own guns. Yes. Baringo North and Baringo South. We know them, we have profiled them. And for the benefit of doubt, I want to tell you that we are not undertaking an operation ambaye ina target kila mtu. This is a structured operation which is intelligence led. We have names of culprits, and as I've told you, already we have 4 in our custody who are helping us to identify the others. These are the main characters. So this operation, you will not hear about members of public having been harassed. We are targeting individuals because we have the names, we have worked with the intelligence, members of public, the chiefs, they have identified these people.
Religious leaders have been asked to safeguard the well-being of their congregations by adhering to the self-regulating guidelines in reopening places of worship developed by the Interfaith Council chaired by Archbishop Anthony Muheria. Bishop Dr. Mike Brawan of Metro Church International noted that the high number of COVID-19 positive cases being recorded in the country has been sparked by Kenya's non-adherence to the measures put in place by the Ministry of Health, adding that religious leaders should lead by example of being disciplined.
Today has been a great day in our church Metro. First of all is to thank the government for the opportunity they gave us and hearing our cry. Since the government declared that this will be official, we have been able to have several services. We have been able to reach many of our members that were so thirsty. Like today, we had services that we had to chase some members to come later. I want to request fellow preachers, pastors all over the country of Kenya. The government has done us favor to give us an opportunity. These things that they require, the requirement the government wants, is not for the government, it's for the health of our people. I don't want to have my members dying just because we were careless. So once again, I want to request Kenyans to know they should wash their hand, they should sanitize their hands, they should wear the mask wherever possible is, because it's very, very important. At the same time, I want to request Kenyans, they should keep social distancing. That's what we have done in the church. Let us be brothers keeper. Not only we are able to give hope to the Kenyans, we are also giving back to the Kenyans. Whatever the government puts forth, we need to support it and see why. We need to know the reason behind it. So we cannot just criticize. So I tell the pastor, we have been told those who are leaders can go to church, which is maybe they need to read the rules again. But the truth is, we can look for another way where the elderly, those who are 58 plus can be able to be accessed to church without the other people, because that also is very important.
Baringo South Member of Parliament Charles Kamuren had decried over escalating cases of insecurity in the constituency and called on the government to move with speed and assure residents of their safety. The MP lamented that it is disheartening that livestock raiders are attacking and stealing animals with impunity despite heavy presence of security officers in the area.
Serikali yetu, kujeni na hii operation ifanyike ile operation original. Saidieni, kama hakuna pesa basi ijulikane hakuna pesa, lakini siamini serikali wanaweza kushindwa kwa kazi kama hii. Hatutaki kusikia mahaba tena. Hata Laikivia nasikia kuna watu ambao wameuawa, Nguluti mwalimu ambaye aliuawa na hao wakora. Kwani wakora kwa Kenya? Kwani serikali haina nguvu? Na kama wanahitaji pesa, tuko kwa bunge kwa kuja waseme shilingi ngapi wanahitaji ya operation. I can still move to assist you to make sure that you get the money of that operation if you are lacking money. What is wrong with this? Who is this? We have a government, an alive government. We want to see kuhakikisha kwamba watu wetu wanaishi kwa amani na tunaendelea na maendeleo.
Bado operation inaendelea. Hata tukiongea saa hizo bado operation inaendelea. Najua saa hizi mahali wako saa hii wako wapi. Kwa hivyo bado operation inaendelea. Na ile kitu walifanya ni walikuwa wanataka kudistract officers wale wako huko, waone kama pande nyingine ndio warudi pande hii. Ndio endelee na mambo yao, hiyo operation isiendelee. Wananchi na wahakikishia kwamba bado hiyo operation inaendelea na iko sawa, na at long last itakuja kuleta matunda. Already muliona wakati mwingine my county commander Mr. Ndiwa akionyeshana zile mduko tayari walikuwa wamerecover. Zilikuwa mduko ambao ni 25 na already zimeongezeka zingine mingi from Pokot side. Kwa hivyo msinje mkao na wasiwasi mkisema ati nini hiyo kazi ati imefungwa. Hiyo kazi ati ilikuwa ya kufunga watu macho, bado kazi inaendelea.
CHUKA University in Tharaka Nithi County will be the first higher learning institution in the country to reopen and resume lessons next month after receiving the green light from the Ministry of Education. The university is now set up to reopen after meeting the minimum requirements for the safety of its students against COVID-19.
We are fully in agreement with the stakeholders, primary schools, secondary schools will not open until the curve is flattened. But for the TVET institutions, which are under-enrolled, and for the teacher training colleges, which are also under-enrolled, they can open, do the sanitizing, wash their hands. We just checking to ensure that there are enough washing places, and they can also do the social distancing, both in the hostel areas and in the tuition blocks, because there are not many. Those institutions are not fully enrolled. For the universities, we have encouraged the universities to plan and open in a phased-out way, so that some groups come in the university to study, while others stay at home, and so on, depending on the facilities and the provision for them to observe social distancing.
CHUKA University is ready to reopen the university if the government allows, because we have put into action all the facilities that are needed. We have an isolation center which can be occupied by about 20 people. But we are not expecting anybody to get sick. God has been very good to this county because we don't have any case, and we are praying that there won't be any case, but we are ready for anything. So one person said, if you want peace, prepare for war. So we will prepare for that disease, although we are praying that they will never be here with us. We will make sure that they stand well and keep social distancing, as we have seen in the halls of residence and in the halls of studies. And as a result, we would like the government to allow us to reopen as per our schedule. We don't know the future, but I believe that this disease will not disappear all of a sudden. And if we don't open, we may stay for many days with our students suffering down there. But in case the government finds it is dangerous to do so, that is upon the government.
That story will bring us to the end of tonight's bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is ESTHER WAITHERA, and my sign language interpreter is Naomi Mathu. I shall leave you with a repeat of Maombi kwa Taifa by Narok Pastors.